the best way to turn on your core. What you want to do is get your body really long first of all. So what you're going to do, whether you're standing or sitting, is put your thumbs on your lower ribs and your fingers on your hip bones here. Then this gap there is going to lengthen. So rise yourself up really tall, expand your spine up. Then what you're going to do is turn on your 4 buttons. So imagine that you have button number 3, belly button. An inch or a couple of centimeters above is 4. So it's going 4, 3, 2, 1, evenly spaced. You start with number 1 and you're adding to it with each of those buttons. So button number 1, pull your tummy in towards your spine and flatten. Button number 2, same deal. Add 3 and then add 4. So what you're doing is you've turned the whole lot on slowly and carefully, and you should feel flat and firm throughout. At the same time, you're very, very tall and you're nice and straight. So we're going to apply that down on the mat. So this is your start position here. What you want is a neutral spine, so you want to be able to get your hand easily in and out. Not a great big arch here. When your hand's there, it's the lightest of touch of your back on your hand, and you should be able to just wiggle your fingers a little bit. So keep your hand there to remind you that you're neutral, and then we're only going to do buttons 1 to 3 for neutral. So you go button 1 and 2 and 3 and hold there. Then you should be able to hold that as you bring your leg to 90 degrees at the hip, 90 degrees at the knee, and stretch your leg to your sky. So that's wherever you can straighten your leg and not squash your hand under your back. All the while you're keeping these 3 buttons on, staying nice and flat through here. Then you go to 90 and down, and it's the same on the other side, and don't be surprised if your hamstrings are different lengths, okay? So I can get up here. Some people, a lot of beginners are down here somewhere, and that's fine. It's all about keeping this really stable, your back very neutral, okay? So I want you just to relax, and then find your neutral spine, get your hand underneath, and buttons 1 and 2 and 3. And now we're going to take a big breath. So imagine that you've got a balloon in your ribs, and you're going to rib breath. So take a big breath, expanding that balloon right down to the bottom of your ribs and expanding it forwards, sideways and backwards, and then slowly out. Have you kept your buttons on? So keep your buttons on, keep your neutral spine, and big breath in and out and in and out. So button number 4, we want to get our back flat down on the ground to lift our legs, and we use it when we want to curve our back. So I'll show you that second one in a minute, but at the moment I'm neutral, and I'm going to go buttons 1 and 2 and 3, and now 4 will tip my ribs down onto the mat, and now I can't get my hand underneath. So there's no gap underneath, not even a sliver, as I hold myself there. So I'm going to come back to neutral, and it's buttons 1 and 2 and 3, and ribs go down for button number 4. So right up under here I'm feeling tight now. Now the way we want to use this is hold all of that and take a big breath in and out and in and out. Now keep holding this, keep firm against the ground. We're going to lift your right leg to 90. Really stay firm this time as you lift your left leg up. So you see how carefully I lifted it up, because what I didn't want to lose, one down at a time, is my back against the ground. So quite often what happens as you're learning this, once you lift that second leg, your body will jolt or your tummy will pop up, all right? So you've really got to be very careful, very concentrated on buttons 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, flat back against the ground. Lift slowly, place it down carefully, and then relax. So, buttons, when we're doing our sitting work, helps us get a very good C curve in our back, which is important for being able to roll down and roll up sitting up in bed. So if you sit up very tall, you should have that neutral spine, and then it's buttons 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now you see that I've got that curve in my back, and then I'm coming up nice and straight. Buttons 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then come up nice and straight. So let's do it one more time. Let's have our arms forward, and it's buttons 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then see if you can go down a little bit. And then come up nice and tall. So often in my videos I'll use the term scoop. What we really want is 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're really scooped and hollowed out in front there. So scoop means buttons